This is Joe,
Michelle,
Melissa,
and Shannon.
with More Than a Sniff, where we talk about everything dog.
from training to nutrition,
From behavior modification to grooming.
From vet visits to dog parks.
From getting to know us to having guests. Today we're going to talk about the toy group and really focus in on kind of their purpose and what dogs fit in and how and why. And I think sometimes we don't really think about the purpose of the toys. And sometimes I think that we forget who's in what group just because they're little doesn't mean that they're in the toy group. And so, Michelle, you have a Papillon, and are the Papillons in the toy group?
Yes.
And what have you created as far as for Rambo, being a little dog and kind of living with a little dog? How have you kind of built his life for as far as a toy?
So, I mean, Prudence is also a toy as well, my Cavalier. And they're so different, it's insane. But Rambo is 8 pounds, but he has a giant personality. And I think that's what a lot of people forget with toys, is that they're still dogs, and they still need to be treated like dogs.
Yeah.
And he's still, even though like the purpose of the toy group for the most part is companion, he still needs stuff to do. His brain is still very active. Papillons are actually one of the smartest breeds out there. So there, he definitely is a thinker. He outthinks me a lot. So, and especially with him, I've had to really, really like create this like, oh, we don't pick him up. We let him walk. We let him be a dog. We let him, honestly, anything that we would do with our Briard. I mean, it's no different in my mind.
Right. What do you feel like you did wrong in the beginning having a toy?
I think back about it, and there's a few things that I think I did wrong. One, Rambo is great for our family now, but I really look back at it now, and picking him out from the breeder, he wasn't a good choice. Which is really hard for me to say now that he's 10 because he's perfect in my eyes now. But
Sure. Yeah.
But that first year was really, really hard. He was a really stubborn little dog. And I think that's the hard thing about toy dogs is people think that they're going to be these really easy, compact things. And in all reality, because they're so small, they're more scared and they're more fearful. And they do try to bark and bite sometimes too because they feel threatened because they're so little.
Yeah.
I did carry him a lot because I did have, at the time, I was so worried about him getting sick, so I never ever let him walk when he was really, really young. And we lived in an apartment when we weren't supposed to have a dog. So we were also hiding him,
Sure.
which was really hard because he didn't get to get out and socialize the way I think he properly should have being a small dog.
Sure. What do you feel like with Prudence being a toy breed, and what's so different about her?
That's the fun thing about those two. When people that are interested in getting toy breeds, I'm like, you just like with any other group, you need to find that right breed that's for you within that group.
Right.
Her first year, she was the most obnoxious puppy ever, which is really weird to think about, because Cavaliers are, for the most part, extremely laid back and lazy. Now she'd rather just sit on the couch instead of going for a walk.
Yeah.
So that first year with her was really hard, actually. But now, like, I really think for the most people that are looking for a toy breed are going to be looking for more of a Cavalier type personality versus Rambo's personality, because she is laid back. She does, for the most part, like everybody and all the other dogs. She gets reactive with other dogs sometimes on a leash, but other than that, like, she's pretty mellow, laid back. She's what you think of a companion animal is. Like, she wants to cuddle you on the couch, and she wants to, if you want to go for a walk, she's cool with that. I mean, she likes going for walks.
Yeah.
But she doesn't demand it.
Right.
Where Rambo needs his brain worked every day as well as,
right.
So.
Right. Melissa, what's your perception of small dogs just in general when you see them? Don't talk from a dog training standpoint, but just as a citizen, what's the perception of small dogs out there?
So to quote one of my favorite shows, Parks and Recreation, if it's under 10 pounds, it's a cat.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I used to think of small dogs.
Sure.
Before I got to know them, we didn't have them growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was always like, oh, they're small. Like,
Yeah.
people hold them in their purses and they sit on your lap. And I just had no idea, but delicate and small and wants a bow. And like, that's kind of the perception of, and you can't train them. That's also I've never thought that, but a lot of people think like, oh, you can't train small dogs.
Right. So you just pick them up.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Shannon, what was your experience as far as having the toys come into the vet clinic when you were there?
I feel like the most bad behavior was for toy dogs. The most dogs that bit people at the vet was toy dogs. They were really loud, obnoxious, out of control. The bigger dogs were more under control. And I think from a person's perspective, they thought, oh, I have to train this big, huge dog when it's a baby because I can't pick it up and carry it away. But their small dog, they can just pick it up and carry it away, which you shouldn't do. Let's be clear, you shouldn't do that. But I think that's why they're like that, because they're just like, oh, well, this dog doesn't have to learn that. I'll just pick it up and move it away. And then they just have exploding with bad behavior and ill temper.
So just a general list of the toy breeds. There's the Affenpinscher, the Brussels Griffon, the Cavalier, King Charles Spaniel, Chihuahua, Chinese Crested, English Toy Spaniel, Havanese, Italian Greyhound, Japanese Chin, Maltese, Manchester Terrier, Manchester Pinscher, Papillon, Pekingese, Pomeranian, Toy Poodle, Pug, Shih Tzu, Silky Terrier, Toy Fox Terrier, and Yorkshire Terrier. So I didn't realize the Italian Greyhounds were in the toy breed. I thought they were in the Sighthound group. So I guess I've had a toy breed. And
I thought that was weird too. Like they could kind of blend.
Yeah. Because you've got some terriers in there, and
I was just going to say, I think that's kind of the funny thing about the toy breeds is yes, they're all small, but they actually, I bet you could break most of them down into a different group if you really wanted to.
I think so too.
Cavaliers you could probably put into a sporting group because originally their ancestors were bred to hunt. They're not, but
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's a lot of them you could break down into other groups.
For sure. I think, Melissa, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say the Havanese and herding too.
Right, because they were bred for herding chickens.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of weird.
That kind of made me
they are
pause,
small,
too.
but
yeah,
I didn't think they were.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, knowing that, the Italian Greyhounds were in there having an Italian Greyhound. Boy, we never treated him like a toy dog. He was treated like a big dog, and I think that he thrived in that. And that's what made him so good is there was just no excuse for being little. It was just you're a dog, and this is how you're expected to be. And so I think it's kind of funny to think that we as society think a little dog and you treat him like a little dog, and I don't know what that really looks like.
Yeah, I had a while back a Havanese puppy. I was giving it the puppy foundation course, and it was fun talking to the father of the family because he could just not wrap his mind around it. Because he grew up with labs and golden retrievers, and he's like, I don't know how to deal with little dogs. Like, no different. You're not going to break her. Treat her like a big dog.
Yeah.
And like they had a rule: you can't pick her up. Only like you can have her on your lap and you're sitting down, but no carrying her places.
Yeah.
And I was just like, treat her like a big dog. So their joke, like they call her Big Girl Roxy.
Yeah.
Because she has to be a big dog.
Right.
Not a little. But it was fun. Like they're like, are we going to break her? Nope.
Yep.
She's feisty, this little one. Like, you're not going to break her.
Yeah. And I had I have a client that he initially had a really unruly, terrible terrier. Terrible. He was rough. And when he passed on, they got a Havanese, and that's what I suggested to them. And boy, that Havanese probably toes the line and is better behaved than any big dog I've ever seen. That's Zach, and
I figured.
Havanese.
I really, really like.
And then we have another one that runs with a big pit bullish mix, and and
he's so cute.
and he is, and he's just life to the fullest, you know. So I think we just really forget.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a kind of a funny story about Rambo. Rambo doesn't like to be held. That's like, he doesn't. Rambo's never wanted to be treated like a little dog. I think that was part of his problem when he was younger, was I was treating him like a little dog, and he was like, please put me down. He's never liked to be held. He doesn't like to cuddle. It's not his thing.
Yeah.
I don't know about, I mean, I don't know a ton of Papillons, but I if you want a cuddly dog, I would not suggest one, because they definitely are a lot more active than
Yeah.
a lot of these other toy breeds. But Rambo broke his foot when he was probably like 2-ish, and he was in a cast. And I remember taking him into the vet, and I was taking him to the vet inside PetSmart, so we were inside a pet store, and somebody brought me, and I worked there at the time.
Yeah.
Somebody brought me a cart and was like, "Oh, I saw your dog was hurt. You need to put him in this cart." And I was like, "He's going to jump out and break another leg." He
Right.
would have. I know he would have. Like,
Right.
he did. That's just not who Rambo is.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be treated like a little dog. He wants to be treated like
Yeah.
we treat Murphy.
Yeah. So, Shannon, if you were to pick a toy breed, for me, what would it be?
Oh, what would I pick for you? I have to look at the list. Well, you already had a toy breed, so I feel like that's unfair. I would pick one of the terriers, probably. Maybe Fox Terrier or even Shih Tzu. I really like my Shih Tzu. The thing about these toy, Affenpinscher would be a good one. They're really, really tough. Yeah. Even though they're small, they're really tough, hardy dogs, the toys. And they can go and do anything. I mean, I think my dog Ripley could out-hike any dog. You know, and they love to go and do, and Rambo too.
Oh, Rambo's gone on like almost a half marathon with Brandon. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was when Brandon was practicing for his half, so it wasn't like an actual marathon, and it wasn't the actual full thing, but it was really close. Yeah. And he came home and was still like, "Hey, what are we doing next, guys?" Like, that's not. Rambo does have very fine bones, so we do have to define like what the difference between being hardy is and whatnot, because we actually don't know how he broke his foot. He went outside and came back with a broken foot. So
I think they have the energy and they have the drive to do
Right.
everything that a bigger, we'll say medium-sized dog would do, you know? And they do really love their life and to be a dog. And I think the added thing of them is they'll do everything that a bigger dog will do, but then at the end of the day, they want to be with you and sit on your lap, you know, like while you watch TV. Yeah. So I really like them, you know, because they're fun. They're just like have these fun little personalities and willingness to do what you want, and the energy and the drive to do like things that are amazing too.
Yeah. So, Shannon, what take out Michelle's two? What toy breed would you pick for Michelle, and what would you pick for Melissa?
Okay.
this is really fun. I know what I would pick next if I got another one.
I would pick Japanese Chin for Michelle. I really like Japanese Chin. They're fun little dogs. And for Melissa, I think I would choose Chinese Crested because they are fun dogs. They're really unique, and they have a fun energy and that kind of like to play the games and kind of stuff like you like to do with your dogs. I really, really like them. Chinese Crested.
I remember I asked Joe one time forever and ever and ever ago. Like, it was when we were originally training with Rambo, and I remember asking you what kind of dog you were going to retire with, and you told me a Chinese Crested. Because you're like, because then I can just like put suntan lotion on and sit on the beach with it. It's just going to be fine just sitting there with me.
Yeah. It's funny. Chris and I were talking as far as like what would be our next dog, and I just like, I'm not ready to think there yet, you know. And then getting completely off the path here is, I think I want an Irish Wolfhound.
Oh, wow.
Just saying. I don't know. We'll see. Cute little Hudson.
Yeah.
It's kind of stuck on me. I think I could have another little dog.
Yeah.
I mean, we really missed, we miss Mitt. He was just like the life of the party. So I think, the toy breeds, Mitt was super.
Rambo will not be my last Papillon. I can tell you that right now. He will not be.
Yeah.
And I would love a Havanese. That was my other little dog that I was hands down. I would totally have a Havanese.
What would you have, Melissa?
Kind of I think the Chinese Crescent. Like, I think they're funny and
Yeah.
fun. And
Yeah.
the only one I've met before, his name was Harley, and he
Uh-huh.
rode on the back of his owner's Harley.
Uh-huh.
And he was just the life of the party. He would
Yeah.
just go around and want to shake everybody's hand and
Yeah. Yeah.
and I just think it would be fun to have a really unique breed.
For sure. For sure. I think as you're out there and thinking about the toy breeds, I think it is important to understand how you can break it down and where they can fit into other groups, because I think it keeps things a little bit more realistic, that a toy breed is not just a toy breed. There is something behind that toy. And you really have to treat them like a real dog, and putting them in the terrier group or the sighthound group or really will help you keep into perspective what the dogs are going to be like just in a little body, but their brain is incredibly big.